Welcome to thestockminer.com. I'm Brian Johnson, and we got kind of a violent day today. We got a big gap up last night. I was actually watching the markets. For those of you that are futures players, this is always fun. I was doing some work here, answering emails, and I can see out of the corner of my eye my little charts kind of ticking back and forth. And in the overnight hours, for those of you that play the futures, they know they don't really move that much in most cases. But they were violent. It was all over the place. So I quickly looked over and thought, uh-oh, something's going on. So I flipped my TV over to CNBC really quick. And sure enough, Obama's talking, and they went ahead and tax cuts for everybody. And I thought, oh, this is going to be good news. So went ahead and got into the futures last night and let it run till this morning. And sure enough, woke up to a very sizable move to the upside. However, I thought to myself, well, I've been talking with my viewers about the fact that we're closing in on some higher levels here, getting very overextended, and it's very common to see a start to the morning where you gap down big or gap up big and then just either fall or rise from that point. And I thought, oh, I'm going to be careful. So I went ahead and covered at that point and let the markets do what they're going to do. And sure enough, look what we got. Now, I was looking at where we gapped to, and that was important for me. And on the Dow, look where we got. Right up there near that 11,450 mark. That's that overhead area we've been watching. Notice how we hit that area and ran away from it at that point. 11,450.81, missing the high by less than, well, about a point. Call it a point. It's less than a point. So this is very, very strong overhead resistance. Now, after what we saw today and some strong action that came in towards the end of the day, I got to tell you, this afternoon's move really felt to me like some sort of a wave 3 down. Gonna have to have confirmation, and for me that'll include a gap. Usually what I see in these wave 3s are gaps at some point. So do not be surprised if you wake up tomorrow to a gap down. Now, if we do not see a gap down for whatever reason, then we could still have a little bit more bullishness left. Maybe this was some sort of just a quick correction, one push higher, and then a larger pullback. But man, I got to tell you, it really felt this afternoon like we were seeing something in the works with the market. Internals and stuff started to kind of change direction after being strong most of the day, surprisingly enough. Even while we were going down, the internals seemed strong, and I wasn't convinced of the move at that point. But then it all kind of broke loose, and I was like, okay, here we go. And sure enough, that's exactly what we saw all afternoon. Just strong pushes to the downside. So this might be it, guys. This might be the pullback we've been talking about and the pullback we've been waiting for. So now, let's get some entries. Looking tomorrow for a break below 11,325 on the Dow. And on the daily, looking to see if we can get below that same area as well. I like that 11,3, let's say 11,350-ish, 11,300, somewhere around in there for an entry to the short side. Any further push upwards, of course, it's 11,450 as it has been. NDX 60 minutes saw that same thing. Look at the gap and go. I like the NDX for this reason too. It shows you the gaps when we get them, and you can see from the very start here, it just ran down all day long. That's what the markets did. So a very actually pretty easy play if you were an intraday trader. Most of the day it was pretty easy to play this thing downwards and make a little bit of money on this thing. Now we're going to start looking for some maybe longer term entries for you swing traders. I think we've got a few days at least of this pullback, if in fact that's what we see it turn into. Then I think we see a pullback. I'm looking down towards 11, no, not 11, sorry, 1200-ish, 1180-ish, 1200-ish area maybe. We could get that low. So I'll be watching those areas very closely. But that means that we've still got a little ways to go. We've still got a good 20 points to go, depending on what kind of a move we see tomorrow, if we see a move tomorrow to the downside. But you can see what the NASDAQ did. It gapped up only to run out all day long, and this was common of a lot of stocks. You could have just about picked almost any stock or ETF today and gone short from the very open and did very, very well by the time it was all said and done with. So we ran all the way down today here at 2189. Watch that 2180 level. That's one of the major levels we've been watching for breaks of that to the short side. Otherwise, you see the gap up and run back down here on the daily. That'll start to affect things too on the weekly. Maybe we do see a smaller pullback. I don't know if it'll be anything major. Watch tomorrow for those breaks below some of the bigger areas, like 2180 on the NDX. SPX 60 minute also, the gap up and move back down. We actually gapped up right near that 1234-ish area. I think that's what the futures were at. So you can see the big gap up, come right back down all day long. I like that we broke this level right here at the 1228. We gapped up above it, but way above it. I said look for a gap above 1228 tomorrow, but that was a huge gap above 1228. I was looking for something in the 1229, 1228 area, and then come back, retest it, and hold it for an hour or so. Not the same type of movement I was looking for. So you can see we broke back down here, getting back below the 20 period moving average. That was also big to break that too at the end of the day. SPX daily coming back. You can see now this looks like a very, I'm not usually big on reversal candles, but I like this one. I like what I saw this afternoon. I like what I saw in the markets, and I like what I see from this candle. If you guys happen to be short at this point and you're holding overnight, good for you. I think you're going to be in good shape. We got to give it a day to make sure. I always like to make sure that we get some sort of confirmation just to be sure, but I like what I'm seeing here. I like what I saw all day long. SPX weekly, same type of thing here, stuck up above this line, just waiting to see what happens by the end of the week. Friday's a long way off. VIX on a daily, we saw the gap down and the move up. So as you can see, we finished. Now if you just look at the markets for what it was, the VIX was down, the markets were really up except the Dow, but they were all about break even on the day. But I'll tell you that it was not indicative of the performance of the day. You can't just look at the numbers end of day and go, oh, hey, cool. Markets didn't go anywhere. Must have been a blah day. Far from it. Far from it. The performance of the day is what was the most amazing thing to me. It was a strong, strong performance, actually by the bears. I saw a lot of good volume start to pour in once this thing, pulled back in the morning. Then mid-morning kind of worked its way back up. But boy, when it started to work its way back down into the end of the day, it was strong. Strong volume coming in. A lot of good participation on the bear side there. Weekly as well, we'll wait until Friday, but right now maybe we start to see a spike in the VIX. Let's see where that ends up going before we end this entire week. Apple 60 minutes, same thing. Gap up, move down, and a big move down. And I got to tell you, I don't like to short Apple, but I was really, really, really tempted to do it this morning. And it saw a big, big, big fall today. Now we are back below this blue line again. I'd be very careful on Apple. It did not hold. We got back above. Remember I said yesterday, oh man, we got above that 320, but we couldn't hold it. Now today we gap up above the 320, but we couldn't hold it. If you guys stood around for any length of time on Apple in the morning, it did not take it long to start retreating back towards 321, which was a strong area up in here, and then eventually it fell the rest of the day. So a big move back on Apple by the time it was all over with. Down a $1.94 is not indicative of what happened today. This thing started at like 323 and dropped. So it was like a $5 move in Apple today. So not the most strong move you want to see coming into the holiday season, but I think it's just a pullback if anything else. Just be cautious with your Apple. Weekly, same thing. Let's wait till the end of the week to see if something doesn't recover here in the next couple days. FAS, gap up, move down. Look where it gapped, right to overhead resistance at the 25.25 mark, coming right back into the 20 period moving average. If you were intraday trading, that's good for you. We got a gap up and above the 200, but once again, if you waited any length of time, which you should on any gap, and just see what happens, it started pulling back right away. It was more than obvious that it was ready to come right back down. A lot of selling coming in just as the markets opened this morning on everything, really. Well, I shouldn't say everything, not all stocks did, but on the ETFs from the indices side it sure did. Gap down here, moving right back up, so depending on whether you play FAS or FAZ, there was good intraday trading to be done from an intraday trading standpoint, not from a swing trader. Still a little bit on the cautious side. I could be swing trading this maybe short if you want to take some of these breaks down here and hold on to them. But right now, I'd be looking to cover. If you are short from way up here, I'd start putting my stops down, start moving them down, and see if we get any confirmation on this move tomorrow at all. We hit this 1080 area, but we did not get all the way back down to the $10 area. So this could potentially, give it some time, could turn into a pretty decent bounce here on FAZ if you like to play things long. Okay, that'll do it for today. Guys, that move at the end of the day was strong. I liked it. Let's look to see if we get some sort of a gap down in the morning to confirm that. Um, Maybe a gap of 5 to 8 points. Could be more, but maybe 5 to 8 points in the morning, and then watch and wait and see what the markets want to do as soon as it opens. I wouldn't jump right into a short position and on a gap down in the morning. You want to be cautious. Make sure the markets are going to stay with that direction. Then make your move. All right, guys. See you tomorrow night.